Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Eitan Klein from the Israel Antiquities Authority. I'm serving as a Deputy Director of the Antiquities Theft Prevention Unit. First of all, I'm very happy to speak here, and I hope to share my thoughts and our knowledge with you. I will speak about Israel's active methods for the protection of cultural property, and we will deal in the case study of the Judean Desert Caves project that I am one of the managers of this project, and we'll see how we can protect cultural property and cultural property in more active methods. So I will start with a background. In Israel, more than 30,000 antiquities sites are known. These sites contain remains of various cultures, different religions, such as Jewish, Christians, and Muslim, and Israel as the Holy Land has so many archaeological sites that contains cultural property that are very, very important to the three main religions. And we are talking about history of thousands of years since the prehistory. It could be 300,000 of years until actually modern times. And most of the sites are out in the open, unguarded, and can be easily reached by the public, but also by antiquities looters who are trying to loot the antiquities that are still in the ground, inside the ground or below the ground, and then to sell them in the antiquities market or to smuggle them outside of Israel, mostly to Europe or America. Here you can see two antiquities looters that our unit succeeded to catch. Mostly they are looking for underground caves, mostly from the time of the Romans, because at that kind of underground complexes, they can find coins, hoards of coins from the time of the Great Revolt that the Jews rebelled against the Romans, and also the Second Revolt, the Bar Kokhba Revolt, and those coins can be sold in the antiquities market, and they have buyers. So each year in Israel, something like 300 antiquities sites are being looted or damaged by the looters. And it's a big issue. It's a big problem here in Israel. And therefore, the Antiquities Theft Prevention Unit, the ATPU, was established in the 80s. So it's already 40 years that this unit, that I'm the deputy director of it, is acting. And the Israel Antiquities Authority Theft Prevention Unit is a specialized force spread nationally. We deal with illegal trade, unlicensed selling of artifacts, and illegal excavation of any kinds. We have actually three departments in our unit. It's the intelligence department, the inspection, all the inspectors are in the field, and the third department is the antiquities trade. So we are dealing with many sides of the antiquities issue in Israel. All the theft prevention personnel have authority similar to police officers, limited to the antiquities law. We can arrest, we can do search warrants, detention, confiscation of property, surveillance, day and night ambushes, and we also have combat army background. Most of the unit's workers and inspectors have a university degree in archaeology and can carry out archaeological surveys and excavations. So our uniqueness is an enforcement unit with archaeological abilities and wide archaeological knowledge. And this is a very important point why I think that we succeeding to combat very good against the Antiquities looters in Israel, and also unauthorized dealers and others. And this is because we have the skills, we have the ability, the archaeological ability, we are experts in archaeology. We know what's unique, what's genuine, from which period every item is, and it's when we are detecting in the field, we understand what we are seeing. So this is from one side, and from the other side, we have all the abilities and authority for a good enforcement work. So this is the ATPU. I spoke about the ATPU. Now I will speak about the Judean Desert Cave project, which we will examine as a case study for active methods for the protection of cultural property in Israel. So let's speak first, where is the Judean Desert? This is the land of Israel, the Holy Land. Here you can see Jerusalem, and to the east of Jerusalem, 20 kilometers east of Jerusalem towards the Dead Sea, there is an area, a very remote area called the Judean Desert. It's actually the back field of Jerusalem. You can ride from Jerusalem to the Judean Desert in 20 to 50 minutes, but it's a desert, okay? Not so many rainfalls, less than 200 millimeters a year. Most of it is cliffs, and inside the cliffs there are many caves. The climate is very dry, no humidity, and therefore organic materials can be preserved in this climate very good. And therefore many unique antiquities items can be preserved in the caves of the Judean Desert. In 1947, two Bedouins from the Ta'amra tribe went with their cattle, with their ships to the field, to the Judean Desert. One of the ships, according to the story, ran away. They tried to look for the ship, and eventually they threw stones inside one of the caves in the northern area of the Judean Desert. They heard the sound of broken pottery, and when they entered to the cave, they found 7 jars, ancient jars, and inside of them they found scrolls. They took the scrolls to antiquities dealer in Bethlehem called Kandu, and Kandu told them that it's a very unique scrolls. Actually, we are talking about the most ancient scripts of the Bible from before 2,200 years ago, from the Second Temple period, and the rest is history. The Bedouins understood that they can find in the Judean Desert caves very good and very important and actually very high value items, such as the Judean Desert scrolls. And all the Bedouin tribes in the Judean Desert started to look for scrolls, went from cave to other cave, and try to dig and to find scrolls. Until now, the Bedouins found more than 1,000 fragments of ancient scrolls from the time of the Romans. They sold it in the Antiquities market. Eventually, the fragments got to the archaeologists, and it was very important, but the Bedouins understood that they have actually gold in their hands. Okay, so since 1947 until actually today, the Bedouins are looking for treasures in the Judean desert caves. And what happened 70 years ago still happening today. There is no new thing under the sun. And now I will speak about our story with the Judean desert. In 2009 and 2013, there were rumors in the Antiquities market in Jerusalem that a group of looters from the Palestinian village Seir found in one of the Judean desert caves scrolls. One of it was written in Hebrew from the Second Temple period. The other one was written in ancient Hebrew from the First Temple period. Actually, it was a shipment document of 2 jars of wine from a place called Na'arata, close to Jericho, to Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the capital city of the Judean kingdom at that period. And it was very important. Actually, it's the first time the most ancient script outside of the Bible that Jerusalem is mentioned in. And it's a very, very important artifact. We as a unit understood that we have to act against this group and also to catch those scrolls, new scrolls. We did a mission in order to seize them, and eventually we seized both scrolls. Now they are held in our warehouses in Jerusalem, in the treasury of the state of Israel. And from this point of time, we understood that we need to act against the looters in the Judean desert caves. The problem was that the Judean desert, most of the Judean desert area has cliffs. It's very risky and very dangerous to act, to move, actually to go, to rappel in those cliffs. And we had, at that point, we had no ability to do that. Therefore, we asked for from other units, rescue units to help us. And we started to look for the Antiquities looters in order to catch them. Eventually, in November in 2014, it took us almost a year, more than a year. We succeeded to catch the group of looters in a cave called the Cave of the Skulls in the Judean desert. During, we saw them digging in the cave. Eventually, we seized them and we caught them. Here you can see the tools that they were holding, and it wasn't enough. Okay, so we caught the group of looters. Actually, we detected all this area, all the valleys in the Judean desert. We wanted to know if there is an active digging, looting in the cave, but the problem was, and you can see here, the valleys and the cliffs. It was hard for us. And we understood that we need to act differently in this kind of area. Therefore, at first, we initiated an excavation, and here you can see all the dust and the sand that the looters excavated, unauthorized excavation. all the damage that they done to the cave. And we understood that we have and we need to excavate in order to prevent and to rescue the items that are still left in the cave. So in May 2016, we initiated an excavation in the Cave of the Skulls. The Cave of the Skulls, it's a big cave. It took us more than 3 weeks in order to excavate most of the cave with the help of more than 400 volunteers who came to the Judean desert. We slept in the camps that we opened. People came and helped us to excavate. And eventually, we found many items. Even though it was looted, we understood that still there are remains of very important artifacts, such as this bundle of wool that we found in the most deepest tunnel of the cave. And when we opened it, there was a hoard of jewelry from the Chalcolithic period. We are talking about 5,000 years ago, probably a woman that was hidden 5,000 years ago, before history began, and she hid her jewelries inside the cave. And one more thing that we found is 2 small fragments of papyri written in Hebrew from the Second Temple period, probably from the Bar Kokhba period, which taught us that there were ancient documents and papyri in the cave, but it seems like the looters already stole them, looted them before we came. And this findings and this understanding, okay, that we understood in the excavations led us to the conclusion that without a systematic survey of the Judean desert caves, it will be almost impossible to detect and to know which caves were looted, in which caves we can still find items, and we can still protect the most valuable archaeological items that the state of Israel has, the scrolls. And that led us to the Judean Desert Caves archaeological project that we initiated since 2017 until today. Today we are in the 5th season of the excavations and surveys. And so the goals of this project is systematic survey in the cliffs of the Judean desert between Qumran and Zohar Avin, all the cliffs of the Judean desert, mapping all the caves in the cliffs and documentation of all human activity, excavation in selected caves according to the chances of finding national cultural heritage artifacts, and protection of the antiquities and the caves from looting. And this is what we did. We learned how to rappel. We also got experts in ropes. And so we combined a team of experts, archaeologists, rappelling experts, geologists, zoologists, all came together. I'm and Amir Ganor were, and also Dr. Ofer Sion were the managers of the project and are still the managers of the project. And the first thing that we did is photoing by drones of the cliffs. We are talking about 120 kilometers of cliffs, and inside those cliffs there are thousands of openings for caves, and each cave was numbered, and we wanted to survey each cave. We needed to physically go to each cave location to check it, to see if there are archaeological remains, human activity, and then to survey it. And if there is a chance of finding very important artifacts such as scrolls and papyrus, so also to excavate those caves and to do a map of each cave, to rappel, to enter, to survey. So this is what we did. And here you can see some of the items that we found many coins that we find, pottery from the time, from different periods, weaponry from the Roman period, from other periods that tell us the story of the Judean desert caves through history. Here you can see a hoard of caves, a hoard of coins from the Bark of the Revolts that we found in one of the caves. And also very important artifact. In one of the caves we excavated and we found the most ancient basket, preserved beautifully. It's from before 10,000 years ago, prehistoric times. So this is the most ancient basket that were found ever in archaeological find in the world. And also remains of biblical scripts that we found in Nachal Hever, in one of the caves. The scripts written in Greek are from the book of Zechariah and also from the book of Yoel. So some few scrolls that we found in the excavations in 2019. And other artifacts, very, very unique artifacts that can be preserved only in the Judean desert. And I can for sure tell you that they are the most important artifacts that were found in Israel. So to conclude, the more than 80 kilometers of cliffs were surveyed until now in the project. Eventually, we will have a full catalog of all the caves in the Judean desert. It will be easier for us actually also to inspect and to detect the caves, because we will know now where there are human remains and where there is nothing, okay? More than 500 caves were surveyed and mapped. And the archaeological project led by the Antiquities Self-Prevention Unit emphasizes the need to take more active approach for the protection of cultural and archaeological properties, and illustrate the importance for building national unit for the fight against the cultural properties crimes, which includes law enforcement squad, field and academic expert like we have in our unit. I'm doctor for archaeology. Other people in our unit are archaeologists, but we are also enforcement workers, and we are doing the same, a combination of this can give good results. And my recommendation for every country in the world is to combine these two approaches, two kind of workers in one unit. It will make the difference. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed.